Welcome to Police Academy Prep. This is Deputy Z, and today we will be going through our field training series focused on preparing you for field training. There will be 4 phases in the field training series, and this is the introduction and overview phase to dive a little into each topic to prepare you for the phases yet to come. So right now, you're fresh out of the academy, maybe in a post-academy type phase, and you're preparing for field training. This overview video is intended to give you some insight as to what to expect going into FTO or FTD and steps you can take to prepare. Today, I have a guest speaker. I call him G-Man, or you can call him Deputy G. He was my classmate, and we went through pre-academy, the academy, and post-academy together. And without further ado, I'll let him introduce himself.
All right, how you doing, folks? Deputy Z, thank you for having me. This is something that's been on my mind for a while because I do feel there's a lot of things that newer deputies are not aware of or don't know what to expect. So I'm glad to kind of lend a helping hand to get it going. And in regards to the academy, yes, I missed spray day. I miss it all, but
Feels like yesterday, right?
feels
Time
like
flies.
yesterday.
Time flies.
But so our goal today is just to help everybody get an idea of what to expect and how to conduct themselves and how to proceed through the next part of this process. So without further ado, we're ready to begin.
Right, so jumping into this here. So I put down that FTD is a mindset paired with a need/desire to learn quickly.
Okay.
I also put down that just like in the academy, field training is the next step in defining your career. Often it's who you know, or rather who knows you,
Mm-hmm.
and not what you know. So what I'm kind of getting at here is a lot of field training is that mindset, it's that confidence, but also you have to have a desire to learn in this job, especially in field training. I would say that we've been on for a little over a year and a half now, and we are continually learning. I still feel like a noob because there's just every single day there's something new. So what are your takes on that mindset of FTD being more of like a mindset confidence thing paired with consistently learning and the desire to learn and not just winging it, so to speak?
Well, my little spit on that. I look at it when I first started. It kind of reminded me of playing for another team. The flashing lights, the crowd's watching you, the crowd being the public, your coach, and your parents being the ones that have eyes on you at all times. So at that point in time, it's your chance to shine and succeed. But at the same token, it's real life, it's real action.
High pressure.
High pressure.
People's lives
depend on it. And you have to perform in a high stress environment. It will be uncomfortable. It's just how it is. You will make mistakes, but do your best to minimize major mistakes. We don't know it all. You're constantly learning in this field. But like we said earlier, it's the ability to learn quickly and want to learn. I can't tell you the amount of deputies we've seen come and go because they just don't want to learn or they want to do their own thing, and it causes them to make further mistakes, causing them to just say, you know what, give up and go somewhere else.
Right, and this isn't even in my notes, but you brought up a good topic here, that people like to just do their own thing and not listen. So that's a big deal when it comes to FTDs, and we'll probably bring that up a little bit more later in the phase 1. But every FTD you're going to have, every sergeant you're going to have, every coworker you're going to have wants to do something different. Mm-hmm. Right now in this probie type stage, you really need to listen to what they're saying. Even if it's not the best method, the fastest method, as long as officer safety is not compromised, it's important that you listen and do what they want, because some aspects of this job do seem easy, or they seem easy because you haven't realized the full impact that has at that moment. So just follow through and make sure you focus on listening to what they say and how they're teaching you. And you can always, once you're on your own, you could, trust me, once I was on my own, I was changing things up. I was doing things differently.
What works best for you? Yes.
Exactly. And before we move on from this topic, I would like to bring up the fact that I brought up that these next, depending on how long your FTD or FTO phases are, however long it is, whether it's 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, those next months and these next phases really do define your career.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to expound on that because you're either going to be seen at, so everybody knows that the trainee, the probie, the rookie, the new guy is going to look like an idiot, right? You're going to have that, like my partner said here, you're going to
You're going
to be making mistakes. You're going to be that new person. And that's expected. What you don't want to make a name for you is being that idiot, the guy who doesn't want to learn, the guy who's not listening, the rebel.
Officer safety risk.
Yeah,
it's a huge one.
You want to be seen as, wow, he was quick on his feet. Wow, he learns quickly. He wants to learn. He shows up early every day. And you'll be surprised that moves up the chain of command very quickly. Just like you probably either do or don't know from the academy, your command is watching everything you do. They're watching all your test scores. They're watching your performance on the physical aspects, DT aspects. You might not know, but there are people watching and reporting to command. And they're not going to come up to you and say, hey, I've been watching you. I mean, maybe they will, but most likely not. So you won't know until the time comes when all of a sudden your lieutenant approaches you and he says, hey, man, I heard a lot of great things about you. Or your sergeant coming up from a different squad or a different specialized unit saying, wow, man, like, I hear you're the bomb, you're killing it, this and that, you're learning quick, and you're like, man, I've never even met this person in my life. You'll learn, when that happens to you, you'll learn real quick that everything you do is being watched and tracked. Meaning, not to put so much pressure on you, but to do you, focus hard, and these next few months, just grind like you did in the academy, because it does determine,
same focus.
It does determine the next few years, your next 25, 30 years, depending on how long you're in the career. So...
to piggyback on something you just said, by the time you get to your district, absolutely. By the time you get stationed wherever you're going to go, they already knew who you are for the most part. They already have an idea on your tendencies, your do's and don'ts. Are you coachable? Your mannerisms? Are you respectable? By the time you get to your main district office or wherever you're going to work at, they have a pretty good feel on what to expect from you. And from there on out, it's up to you to blossom from that initial stem that you've made from the academy.
Right, and we could talk about that all day, but let's move on. I know finances is something big on your mind.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm going to let you take that away, and I'll chime in when I feel like I got a good idea here. So talk to me about finances and the fact that you're not off probation yet.
All right, so you're not off probation yet, meaning this job is not guaranteed for you as of right now. So
tell me about failure to meet probationary standards first before we get too deep into finances.
Failure to meet probationary standards. Those words. You can get removed from your position from coming to work late, not following policy. Pretty much you are a at-risk employee. So
that's a good way to put it.
You can lose this job in a blink of an eye for doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Yes, accidents happen, but because of that at-risk employee status, it's kind of like they're gauging on what to expect from you from here on out from your future career. If you're a high-risk person, that they feel that
it's going to cost them money down the line.
Money down the line or a liability down the line, they may want to part ways with you and looks elsewhere because a lot of departments don't want to have that needed added risk being to the hot topics going on in the world right now.
And they don't want to lose you. They've probably spent, depending on if they sponsored you in the academy, if you got a sponsorship or not, they could have hundreds of thousands of dollars invested into you by the time they do all the background, all the information, all the academy, all the gear, etc. They could have a lot of money invested in you, so they don't want to lose you. So we don't want to scare you and say, hey, you show up late once you're fired. That's not going to happen. But it's your mindset and your attitude about a lot of things. You can make a lot of mistakes in this career and be totally fine. But it's how you handle it. Do you lie? Do you try to cover it up? Do you try to throw other people under the bus?
Yes.
Are you consistently screwing up? That's really what they're looking for when it comes to that. So now that we've brought in probationary standards in your at-risk career, tell me about finances. Yes. So let's talk about that.
So you first get hired. You see that first check. You see that first come on your check. Feels good. But
coming from working for McDonald's or something.
McDonald's, somewhere else, when your check, you're breaking maybe $800 a check. When you see that first come on your check, you're like, oh man, I'm balling. Let me go in splurge out. Don't do that. Don't go out and buy a new car. Don't go out and buy a new house.
It's tempting.
It's tempting. Live under your means. That's actually a great way to put it. Live under. A lot of people like to say live within, live under, because you never know. I've seen many deputies lose their job or get put on hold because of an injury. Something small as an injury, because now you're not getting that full pay, or it's just you get injured, then you get discouraged, now you got to restart, and then you're like, you know what, you want to do this no more because now you're hurt, your confidence is down. It's so many variables when it comes to this job and the finance part of it. So the best advice I can give when it comes to making smart money decisions: keep what you have, save. If you're not the best with your money, I would honestly suggest talking to a financial planner to kind of help budget your money correctly. That's the one thing you don't want to do, is just go out and splurge, and then something, God willing, happens, and now you're like, oh man, now you're stuck in a situation where you don't know how to climb yourself out of, because you've dug yourself in such a deep hole, right, without the proper means and knowledge to not do that.
Right, and we'll have more videos in the future on finances. I'll try to get a guest speaker on that curtails to that specifically, and we'll go more in depth when it comes to finances. But we just wanted to make that clear that I've seen trainees who thought they were totally fine and they were passing it. Meanwhile, on the back end, their FTD's telling me, hey, we're failing on this phase. Yeah. And it sucks because let's just say he bought that new Hellcat, he bought that new, because this job will allow you to afford
absolutely
really nice things.
Absolutely.
And what you don't want to do is think you can afford it and then you can't, and now you have no way to pay for it and you're digging yourself a hole, like my partner here was saying. So moving on from finances, let's talk about, we're going to dig into this a little bit, unions, off-duty type healthcare and things like that. Just real brief here to kind of get your mind rolling on it. And the point of bringing it up is not to listen necessarily to what we have to say, but it's to let you be aware that it is something to think about and to start asking.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe not the first couple of weeks, but start asking about unions. Start asking about, hey, should I sign up for off-duty care? Because, like, for example, let's say you play basketball, you play a sport. If you get heavily injured, you break a leg, you hurt your back, etc., you might be off the job for 6 months or more, and you might be getting base minimum pay. You're not getting workers' comp because you didn't get hurt on the job, right, and you're now sitting at a desk job getting base minimum pay, and you're barely struggling to afford your bills.
Because once your sick time run out, everything, there's nothing, you're on leave, but that pay is not suffice enough to pay for what you need. So
these are just questions that you need to ask. I have Aflac. Some people use Nationwide. Some people use other companies that provide, if you get injured off duty, they will actually supplement your pay. Moving into unions now, we're not going to sway you one way or another. We just want to bring up the fact that there are unions, and we think you should join as soon as possible. If you haven't joined already at this point, you need to join.
Yes, absolutely.
Talk to your FTD. If he doesn't bring it up in that first day, then bring it up to him, because he's probably just forgetting. Because you could get in a shooting first day. You could get into something big the first week. You never know. Yeah, an accident. And you need that union to stick up for you in the court. You don't have $300,000 to throw at a grand jury. You don't have that kind of money. So you need to join union. Usually it's pretty cheap. You're talking $15 to $40 per paycheck. Yep. So, we're not going to convince you of a union, whether it's PBA, whether it's IUPA,
we're both different unions, but the point is to have something, to have some type of protection and coverage.
Join them all.
Join them all. Look, there's nothing. I don't think there's nothing against it. You want to join them all? Join them all. Look, whatever. Okay, might take $100 out your check. Okay, whatever. But at least you have your own peace of mind if you're unsure. So something is better than nothing at this point.
Right. And like I was saying, just talk to somebody about it. Your agency might have a different bargaining unit. Understand what a bargaining unit does. Understand what other unions offer and what their protections are.
Compare them side by side, do's and don'ts, what they can help
talk to a whole bunch of people. Talk to your sergeant. Don't talk to that union rep because he's going to talk you up for his. Talk to a few different union reps. Talk to some other random officers that have an opinion. So we're just touching it a little bit there. Yeah, just a little bit, so it's something to think about. That's it. So I'll let G-Man here start with our uniforms.
Yes, the grooming standard. Yes. Grooming standard is a humongous thing because that also plays into your command presence. You're going to act the way you feel. You look good, feel good. It gives that extra confidence and all right, People listen to me. People understand what I'm saying. All right, have that. Even though you could be wrong, but if you at least you give out the energy that you're saying things correctly, you're fine. And that's when your partner or your FTD, FTO can step in and correct it or give further input in case you just wrong. You're going to make mistakes. You're not going to know everything. But the biggest thing when it comes to command presence at first is your uniform appearance. You're brand new. Your badge is supposed to be shiny. You're supposed to have creases in your pants, creases on your uniform. You're supposed to look good. You're brand new into the job. There's no way in this world it should look like you just went dumpster diving for trash. You have stains here, stains here.
And that's huge. You walk in first day or first week or first month
might tell you to go
creases.
Home.
They might tell you to go home. I mean, for me personally, I pack a second uniform.
Mm-hmm. I did too for a while.
Every day to work for probably almost all of FTO because you never know if, well, one, you get an accident, you spill stuff, whatever. But two, they say, hey, that uniform ain't going to cut it. Maybe you accidentally had it creased that night, whatever. Have a secondary backed up fold really nice and neat in your trunk. You can pop it out and be ready to go.
Heck, even to this day, I still keep an extra uniform in the back of my trunk just in case blood, water, some spillage. Just, you never know. Or even for your partner. Maybe your partner had a situation where they ripped their pants jumping over a fence. Oh, what's your waist size? I got you. You just never know. Having that spare uniform goes a long way with you and just being that much prepared for what's to come.
Right, and I want to jump in here and talk about your vest and your duty belt. Obviously, follow agency policy procedures depending on where you are hired at, whether you can carry on your vest, whether you have an inside vest. My biggest advice with gear is don't come in your first week, first month looking like Macho Man, like SWAT,
Tactical.
all this special gear, all these little clips and holsters and extra stuff that you really don't need. Which brings me into your secondary options, your baton, your pepper spray, and your taser, depending on what you're approved to carry. I wouldn't carry them all. They're way too heavy. It's not realistic. I remember carrying, I think I carried the baton and the pepper spray because I was like, oh, I might need both. And to this day, I don't do that. I just carry one secondary. It gets too heavy. You end up not using them as much as you think you will. So don't come in looking tactical like G-Man over here said, because that's gonna be a stigma that they're gonna think you're in the job for the toys,
for how it looks
and the gear. And
it looks cool to have all this tack gear like Mr. Tactical, but
you learn real quick.
That stuff is heavy.
Real quick. Yeah.
But I will say, once you get your own unit, me personally, I keep all my stuff either in my trunk or in my side, passenger side, when it comes to my pepper spray, my baton, because you never know. It's just, if you hear a certain call that comes out, say, you know what, this might be necessary, or maybe this might be better used for something. It helps you be more utility when it comes to just having that stuff all in your vehicle and ready to go anytime. So just a little pro tip: you don't need all the stuff in your belt. You don't need every new, like Deputy Z said, you don't need all those tactical stuff, leashes, lanyards. You don't need it. It's just
patches. Don't do anything. Go base what they give you.
Policy.
That's it. Yes,
go with
exactly.
the policy what they give you.
Now, in regards to waist versus vest, if you do have an outer carrier, I know me personally, I carry everything on my vest except my gun and my pepper spray. Everything else is on my vest. I do that because there's some research that the more weight on your waist gives you back problems later on. Some people say the opposite. Some people do half and half. Some people will...
I'm a half and half cup of guy. I half and half.
Yeah, so it depends on your body type, your size, how much you can carry, how much room you have, things like that. But just keep that in mind that you do need to take care of your body starting today, because 10 years down the road, you don't want to have crazy back problems and now you can't work this job. So look into back support. I mean, my first week, I got a back brace for my belt.
Day one, I had a back brace too.
Yeah, because I've never had back pain my entire life until the first week of this job. And I was like, whoa, my back was hurting. I got this back brace, and thankfully to this day, I have no pain. So just keep in mind health-wise too, and,
And something that's severely overlooked, having proper shoes. Shoes are a huge thing for this. You're going to go through shoes.
I bought those awesome combat boots. I was like, oh, that's the way to go. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, man, I want to buy sneakers now.
having a pair of shoes you can change in and out in when your feet get tired is important. My personal opinion, at least every 6 months you probably should change your shoes out because that's the wear and tear. But at least a year, you need to change your shoes out because that's your balance, that's your back, your support. Your job becomes even more difficult when you're standing on your feet 3-4 hours. You have to hold a building down because you have a very curious subject. Now your feet start hurting. Like, oh man, my feet are killing me. I should have bought better shoes. So it's one of those small things that people don't really think about, but shoes are a huge thing when it comes to back support and making you be so more efficient with your job.
Now, let's jump into roll call. Let's keep this one a little more brief. So, what to expect with roll call, especially like your first day, your first week, and stuff like that. Your first day or your first couple days, I would get there probably at least 30 minutes early. You never know traffic, etc. or whatever. And then once you get more comfortable with your route, you know traffic and stuff like that, maybe 15, 20 minutes early. I would not be showing up 5 minutes before because the sergeant's right upstairs or down the street. He sees when people come in. Other deputies see, and they're gonna be like, "Wow, this guy's coming in 2 minents early."
Who are you? Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, you haven't earned your spot yet, unfortunately.
Be respectful.
Be respectful. Do not. Well, I'm gonna save the do nots in a minute for you, but with roll call, just make sure you are paying attention. You're not on your computer. You're not fiddling with paperwork. You're not on your phone. You're not whatever. Just be prepared in roll call, especially your first day. They're probably going to ask you to introduce yourself. So Absolutely. Be prepared with a little spiel. Don't walk in. I've seen some trainees be like, yeah, I worked at Chili's and here I am. And it's like, no, that's not an introduction. No, they want to know a little bit more. Maybe think about like your first interview, kind of like, don't make it some crazy interview, but give them a little, be real, right? These are your partners. Mm-hmm. These people are going to be living and dying for you. They want to know a little bit about you, right? They want to just give them some heart, give them some realness.
Trust. It builds that trust between the squads. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so be prepared for that. Be prepared for the Sarge to maybe ask you, hey, tell me the definition of probable cause.
Yep.
You never know. You never know.
Pop quiz.
Yep. Just that's what I'm saying. Keep that academy training in the back of your mind because they might be asking you, hey, tell me the difference between a robbery and a burglary. And you're going to be so caught off on guard that we know, right? You just went through 5 months of the academy. We know you know what it means. And they probably know that but they're just trying to see if you're quick on your feet.
And it goes back to what we said earlier, being able to think quickly on your feet and retain all that information. Everything that we're speaking about all circles back to one thing: being prepared and just the confidence part of it.
Some do nots.
Yes.
I know. Unfortunately, we kind of covered half of them here already, but.
Oh, look, perfect. Number one thing, like WZ said, do not be late to your first roll call or any roll call. There's a very good chance it will reflect on your DORs. There's a chance they can make you sit in the car, send you back home. It's just not a good look for your first day. Look good, feel good, smell good. Grooming, make sure your beard's up to par. For guys, follow what you need to follow. When the sergeant's talking about different things, put your phone on silent. It's rude to have somebody trying to give you important information for
your phone needs to be on do not disturb or
do not
off.
Disturb.
Well, not off in case you need it, but do not disturb.
I say silent at least.
Probably the whole first phase at least.
Yeah, listen, you're not gonna look at your phone. I'll tell you that. The first phase, you're not gonna really look at your phone. Phones, I don't even think my phone was allowed my first few phases actually until I earned that. Introduce yourself, be nice, be respectful to everybody. Bring your gear to work.
Oh, that's a good one.
Bring your magazines, bring your gun, your duty belt, your tourniquet, bring all your required gear to work. It's a very bad situation where they tell you to go stand up in front and then they say, oh, where's your ammo? Huh? Where's your gun? Huh? It's a bad spot to be in. And another tidbit with that, make sure your gear is loaded to the proper specs that they wanted to. If your gun is supposed to be loaded, make sure it's one in the chamber. If you're supposed to have 17 rounds, have 17 rounds. Be prepared, be correct.
Right. So that goes into our next section here. We're going to talk about things you should study and focus on before getting into your phases. Things that'll help you be prepared so that way your day one, you're in that FTD car and you're not just lost, right? So I'm just going to quickly give a brief summary and then we'll kind of go into each one individually.
Yes.
So you need to know a little bit geography. You need to know a little bit of radio. You need to know your codes and signals. You need to, if your agency provides training briefs, you need to have been going through those if possible. So we'll start with the first one here. I did this. I did it with some of my classmates. I did it with some friends. I did it one time with a friend who was already in a law enforcement agency, which is ride around your city with your radio on.
Yep.
Obviously, be careful you're not clicking it or piping up, but just have it somewhere where you're not touching it, but you can hear it.
Yes.
Listen to the radio, hear a call come out, see how people pipe up, see how they respond, and see if you can drive to that location without using a GPS. I would say write down the location real quick, put it in your GPS, but then see if you can find it without looking at it. Little things like that will get you started on learning some geography, learning how radio talk is, because it is a whole different type of language. And just hearing it a little bit before you get on will at least allow you to...
The speed. One of the things that caught me off guard from the academy to FTD training, the speed at which information comes out. Oh my gosh, it's a whole nother language at the Mach speed of just whatever. It's knowing this block, traffic stops, knowing that stuff is at is vital for getting there for your backup, your partners. So having a very good idea of your geography is severely important.
Right.
It's nothing like getting called to go to one part of the city,
Good thing
and then you're driving the way opposite side of the city.
We've heard stories about people are 3 miles out of their city, and the trainer's like, "Hey, so where are we going?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" And it's like, "Bro, the city limits is 3 miles that way. You're not even relatively close.
You
do not want to be that guy, because as you've seen, that story has traveled who knows how many people, and I'm here.
It
right?
happens. It
happens. If it does happen to you, it is what it is. You just got to move on and embrace the suck. But you don't want that to happen to you if possible. So moving on into geography, I would like to talk about boundaries, right? So know the boundaries of your city, know the landmarks, know the lakes and rivers, the hospitals, the main roads. So that way you do not go out of your city. So if you know that a certain highway, let's just say I-95 or the Turnpike or I-4, depending on where you're at, if that is the bottom, if that's the southeast, northwest area of your jurisdictional boundary, then okay, if I'm hitting I-95, then I know I'm leaving my boundary. I've gone too far, so okay, I'm not going the right way, or turn around, right? So know your main roads, know your main intersections. If you have a lake or a river, so when you're passing over the river, you're like, okay, I'm getting near the north end of my city. I know I have, maybe a half a mile, quarter mile, whatever, right up the road. I need to turn around.
Yeah, know your hot spots. Know these stores or the business areas that come across a lot of theft incidents. Know where those spots are at, because if that's a high value area, you're gonna have to get calls there often. So knowing exactly how to get there as fast as you can, as efficient as you can, will make you look good. Say, oh, this happened at this Walmart over here. Oh, okay, yeah, I know that's that. So you can start making your way there. It's like, okay, this guy's been really studying and focusing. He knows the hotspots so that what to look for.
And phase 1, you're gonna have leniency. So, but your trainer is probably gonna quiz you just to not see. Well, he's gonna quiz you to see how prepared you are and what you know, so he knows how to gauge how to train you. But if he asks you a question and you don't know, it is what it is. But if he asks you a question, he's like, "Hey, where's the nearest hospital?" And you're like, "Oh, it's this hospital, and it is located near the highway or over here." He's gonna be like, "Wow, okay." He's not a total noob. He's done some research. I mean, knowing where the hospital is pretty important. Yep. What if your trainer gets shot? Maybe your battery's dead. You can't get you have to drive him there. What are you gonna spend all this time on your phone or doing this or that? You
gotta get him there.
You gotta we're being dramatic here, but certain things like hospitals and major landmarks are important just for knowing your directions and officer safety type stuff. So they'll probably quiz you the first phase a lot. But if you know the answers, then that is just impressing your FTD that much more versus the FTD saying to himself, okay, he's just your normal trainee. He doesn't know. We'll get him there. But if you can respond and answer correctly to his questions, he's like, okay, this guy's above average or knows his stuff. And
they'll work with you more.
They'll work with you more. They'll be a little more friendly. They'll be a little more easier going. They'll maybe cut you some slack if you mess up somewhere else.
They can absolutely tell if you're spending the time on your off day to go through your notes, go through your case notes, go through the signal and codes, refreshing yourself. It pays dividends to do things outside of your normal work hours, because it makes your day so much easier. Yeah, and it shows.
Yeah, because if you feel confident and you know just about everything, then no matter what he's going to throw your way, you're probably going to know at least maybe not the perfect answer, but a somewhat right answer. And that,
as long as you're in the ballpark. If you're in the ballpark or something, that's their job to kind of, okay, he has an idea, he or she has an idea. Okay, let me push him more in the right direction. So, but at least you're trying to do the right thing, or you're going down the right path or the right avenue.
Right. So that's geography. We'll have a video specifically on geography later on. Maybe help you be able to navigate. Geography is not easy. Your FTD might allow you to use your phone. You might have a GPS in the car.
Everybody's different.
Every FTD is different, so you just really don't know. So that's why you just need to at least know your main boundaries, the hospitals, and major landmarks. So moving into radio, we're not going to get too much in depth of that because every agency uses different radios. They have different buttons, different channels.
Make sure it's charged the night before.
Yeah, make sure it's charged. You're probably given a backup. Make sure your backup is charged. Always bring your backups. We want you, I would say, if you're not riding around like we mentioned to do previously, have your radio on just in the house, just so you can get used to the communication, and know that, you know, there is an Alpha Bravo TAC 1 channel. So your Alpha channel is just going to be your main channel, and if there's a major incident that you're not working, they will usually move you to a Bravo channel or a TAC 1, aka a secondary channel, which will be your new main channel until they call you back. So knowing a couple little things like that, a little hints will kind of get you, you know.
There's multiple channels. It's you have your kind of wide channels. It's focus on the basics first.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
First on the basic channel, which your A channel, B channel. Keep it simple. Simple, stupid.
Now, codes and signals, know them. Know your main ones. You don't need to know your bomb explosion, your hijacked plane. You don't focus on that. Focus on your copy. Your I'm en route. I'm
97.
I'm arrived. I'm arrived. I mean, everyone's code and signals are going to be different based on agency, so we're not going to go into that here. But just know your basic ones that you think you're going to know. You'll pick up and realize that there's a lot of lingo. There's a lot of codes that mean multiple meanings, depending on your tone, depending on how you use them in a sentence, right? Just like your normal English language. So you'll pick that stuff up, but just know that that is a thing, so you're not caught off guard.
You can actually speak, you can say a whole sentence just using signals and codes, and they'll make perfect sense to everybody else. But for like somebody that's brand new, like, wait, what did he just say? What did she just say? What? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
No. But it takes time. It really takes time. Just the more you hear it, the better you get.
And that's why we're just giving you a little tidbit of a little bit of everything, so you kind of just know it's there, so you're not just totally caught off guard.
At least be on the right radio station when you come to work.
Right.
Be on the right channel.
So then that brings us to training briefs. Your agency may or may not provide you training briefs, which basically tell you how to react to different situations, different calls, different scenarios. I will be doing an in-depth, I'll be doing a whole series on how to respond to different types of calls, and we're not going to get too much here because I will focus on that later on in that video. But if they do provide that, then I would recommend reading those in depth, learning them, and going from there. So this is kind of, we're getting to the end here of this intro video. I do want to mention that you will have some sort of daily observation report. It might be called something different for your agency. Basically, that is the trainer's job to report back to command of how you are doing. It's basically a grading system. You're basically being graded every single day for the entire FTD field training
process.
Process, right? So I'm going to go ahead and create a video later on giving you detailed aspects of what to expect and what they are looking for. But what I would like to bring up with this is that you need to ask your FTD every phase, what do you expect from me? Can we go through the daily observation report and the checklist of what you require? That way I understand what you're looking for, because obviously you're new to this job. You have no clue what you're doing. Right?
And every trainer is different. Every trainer harps on different things. So knowing what they expect out of you and their do's and don'ts will help you in long term. So you listen to what they're telling you to do and what not to do, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yep, and we'll get more into field trainers, FTOs, and FTDs, and what to expect from them in our next video. So stay tuned for that one. Now, I would like to mention, so this is the overview and prep video, and then there will be 4 phase videos following afterwards. So your agency might have 3 phases, it might have 5 phases, it might have 4 phases, it might have 3 phases that are long and the 4th one short. So we are going to do a series of 4 phases. just based off that. If yours is 3, then just take it in stride. Listen to all 4. And basically what to expect from each phase, what to expect from your FTD, what to expect in what they expect from you based on experiences that we've gone through, stories we've heard from other people, and stories we've heard from trainers saying, hey, phase 1 might be more of an observation, or you might get a trainer that says, no, you're doing everything day 1.
From jump.
And we'll get into more of that.
Taking reports, you're writing them, yep.
So, and then phase 2 is maybe is this just a step up from that, where phase 3 is like, okay, this is the real shit, you're on your own now. And then phase 4 is like, there ain't nobody there.
It's just you.
Ghost mode. Yep. It's just you. So we'll go through that each phase.
It's
and
progressive.
We'll explain.
It's progressive.
Yeah, exactly.
The more as the steps proceed, the less hands-on your trainer becomes, and they kind of expect you to know how to conduct yourself accordingly when you get to a certain phase.
Right. And G, talk with me about the rolling with the punches here. That it won't be easy, but it'll be worth it. Talk about that a little bit for me.
To say it frank, there are times where this is going to suck. There's going to be times where you make a mistake and you're like, dang, I know this, I shouldn't have made a mistake.
Right.
But it happens. Eat it, embrace it, understand it, and just keep pushing. There's nothing like getting yourself in that snowball effect of going downhill, because once you start going down that path, it is tough to stop it and get it going in the other direction. Sometimes you may have to take a step back and take a deep breath, or just take it for what it is and come at the next day better. It happens. It happens to everybody.
And I know personally, if I was a trainer, I wouldn't be looking so much as, did he answer right, did he answer wrong, did he do this right or wrong, but rather the reaction to that.
Yes.
Because you don't know what's right or wrong usually, obviously depending on the situation, but if you react accordingly, aka meaning you take it in stride, you take it with confidence, you say, hey, yeah, I messed up here, I acknowledge I messed up, but now I learned and now I won't do that again, right? That's what they're looking for, because that's what this job is continually learning. Are you going to take criticism and take it good and become a better, master deputy or, excellent law enforcement officer? That's what they're looking for. At least that's what I would be looking for as a trainer, is how your reaction to this is. Are you beating yourself up? Are you getting down and then now you're messing up on everything because you're in this mindset? Or are you saying, okay, yeah, I embrace the fact that I screwed up and I am going to do better. I'm not going to let that happen again.
Absolutely. This job is an adventure, and you have to take it one step at a time. Like we keep saying, harping on, you're going to make mistakes. You have to eat it. It is what it is. You don't know everything. After 2 years in, you're still not going to know everything. You're still going to make mistakes. It's just one of this time and trial and effort. That's it. Just keep progressing and as long as you keep that will to want to learn and do better, you'll be fine. That's pretty much that in a nutshell. Just embrace it, eat it, get over it. Just keep going.
Right. So we're going to wrap up here, but I want you to stay tuned and make sure to listen in as we go into the 4 phases of field training and what to expect with each phase. I kind of talked into a little each phase. I would say this information is paramount to your success. Could you succeed without it? Yes, but will this make your life better? And will you be able to, instead of drowning in what you're currently in, you'll be able to know what is coming and mentally and physically prepare for what is coming, so you can start practicing 3 steps ahead or 2 steps ahead instead of just being where you're at and trying to figure out where you're at. So there's really no information like this anywhere else on the internet. There are a couple sites that are paid. I'm trying to make this free to you guys because this is your career, this is your future, this is your livelihood, and this is honestly an awesome job, an awesome career.
Oh, absolutely. I love it. I want to train for the world.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we want you to succeed, and I've seen too many trainees fail because they know what to expect. They get in that mindset, and they just continue digging themselves deeper into the hole. So that's why we're bringing this series to you. So that's how we're wrapping up. Stay tuned for our Phase 1 video coming here shortly. I'll see you then. Signing off, this is Deputy Z and
Deputy G. Have a good time, folks.
We'll see you guys in the next one.
Do you?